I'm Amelie and welcome once again to my channel. Today I'm going to be watching Kinnporsche episode number 5. And look, I've been thinking about the last episode for the past week, and the truth is that I still don't know how to feel about it. I'm still very conflicted. So I'm hoping that today's episode is going to at least clarify some things for me to, help me understand certain things. And one of the things that I wasn't sure about, I actually thought about too late for the last episode, and I guess for this one as well, because I don't know. But I'm not sure if I should be putting like a trigger warning for this type of things, because definitely the episode, but also maybe the discussion that is going to come after, definitely related to things that may trigger some people. But at the same time, I'm assuming that if you have already watched these episodes, which is for sure the case, I don't think anybody's watching the episodes for the first time with me. I think they probably know what I'm going to talk about in this episode, or what these episodes may bring in terms of a conversation. So that's why I didn't put it, or that's why I'm not going to put it in this time, but let me know if you feel like I should. I have no problem putting it. I don't know when I'm not putting it. Well, yeah, it's more work for the editing, but I don't know. I don't know if I should. Anyway, again, I've been thinking about it, and I think, wait a minute. Maybe I should have arranged my thoughts before starting this, but I didn't. So you have to understand that whenever I'm going to react to something, the most preparation I do is just put the episode, set my microphone, and sit down. That is all that I have to do. So I don't prepare my brain for it beforehand. I don't know what is going to come out of my mouth whenever I'm going to do these things. So, it's a surprise for everyone. Anyway, I think, obviously, I don't want people to take the fact that I'm trying to understand Kinn's perspective for a way to me to justify it, because I do not justify it. As much as I love Kinn, and I do love him, and that is why I feel that, this is something that I really want to understand, because I love the character. We are only 4 episodes in, and I love the character. So I do want to understand why. But at the same time, I do, I can recognize that what he did was wrong. It was definitely rape. Like, having sex with somebody that cannot consent is rape. However, I do not also want to oversimplify the situation, especially because of the, the character that we have seen Kinn show so far. Like, he, the way he acted. And if you go back to the previous episode, like, after kissing Porsche, the first thing he did, like, the next morning, other than being jealous of Vegas, is just asking him how he felt about it. Like, did he feel fine? And yes, you could say that this is a mafia show, like, we should be used to, darker themes or whatever, which I completely understand. But at the same time, I feel like to just have Kim, rape Porsche in that way, it's a little bit out of character considering what we have seen so far, because being willing to kill somebody and willing to rape somebody is definitely not the same. So I feel like there is a justification that at least Kinn gave himself to do this. And that doesn't justify him, at least not in my eyes, but it does help me understand his character a little bit better. So from my perspective, my idea is that Kinn didn't actually saw what he did as rape, at least not at this moment. I don't know what's going to happen in this episode. Maybe we'll, something is going to come out, or maybe everything is going to be explained. I don't know. But from my perspective, I don't think Kinn necessarily saw those actions at that moment as rape. I already mentioned this before. I already explained it in the last episode. I'm not going to go too much into it, but that's my perspective. But I don't want people to confuse that perspective with me justifying it. I think you can understand a character's actions without justifying the things that you don't approve of. And in this case, I definitely don't approve of. The other thing is that most of what we have discussed so far has been focused on Kinn, which I think, in a situation like this, is not necessarily the best thing to do, because obviously the person we should be focusing the most is Porsche. However, I'm focusing on Kinn because from Porsche, we are not getting anything in the last episode. Obviously, he was drugged, so we don't know how he felt. And I'm not saying that he's going to feel happy about it, or I'm not saying that he's going to feel bad about it. I feel like we don't know what his reaction is going to be. I think it's probably, considering what we saw in the last episode, obviously he couldn't, he wasn't in a position to consent. So he couldn't consent because he was drugged. He was definitely out of it. But he's definitely interested. Like, I feel like his actions show that he's interested in Kinn. And he, regardless of the fact that he couldn't consent, he might have been interested in, having sex with him at that time, in his adult mind, which again, it doesn't make it right. But that might mean that he's going to be conflicted in the next episode, because on the one hand, it was something that he wanted to happen, but at the same time, maybe it didn't happen in the way that he wanted, or maybe he would have expected Kinn to say no because he wasn't ready at this stage. I don't know. There is a lot of possibilities. What I definitely don't want to do is to oversimplify this and to say, oh, okay, Kinn, bad, cancel, Porsche, a victim, that's it for him. I don't want to oversimplify it like this because I feel like, these are complex characters, and humans don't work like that necessarily. You may have complex feelings about traumatic things that happen to you, and that is perfectly fine. So I don't know. I don't want to talk too much into this because I feel it's too depressing for a Friday. I was going to say afternoon, but it's actually still morning. It feels like afternoon for me because I've been working from very early, but Friday at this stage. But I feel there's also things that we have to address because, they happen in the show and I feel like I need to discuss them. And since I don't know anybody in real life that is watching the show, I need to discuss them with somebody. So people listening to this is just going to be it. So anyway, I'm going to watch episode 5. I hope they show us, like the aftermath of what happened, and maybe, it allows us to understand some of the things. But at the same time, I kind of hoping that the general tone of the episode is not too low. Like, I don't want a too depressing episode. I'm going to be honest. I just need something, I hope there is a space for, some fun in the episode as well, because I need it as well. So let's see how this show balanced that in this episode. Okay, so let's go to episode number 5.